Hi YouTubers, and I'm back for another What Would Have Happened If This Were in Real Life RhinoTMRTGamePlay series YouTube video. Now I've been trying over and over again to come up with another one of these new topics, especially now with one of these very different and all. And I was kind of focusing to do I was thinking about doing trying to find a way to do like a prequel movie idea for these kinds of YouTube videos, but I probably don't have another good one that's just. I probably don't have another one of those prequel movie ideas that are just as good as the Ohana family Lilo and Stitch prequel movie. However, there's actually something else that's also interesting as well. Spin-off movie ideas. Now, spin-off movie ideas is actually another great one. So much so that I actually have one in mind. I mean, I already know what it is. And it's actually going to be the Metro Man Megamind spin-off movie. Now, honestly, I think this is the best idea that I could ever come up with because the Megamind the streaming service series is coming soon sometime, which at least that's what I've heard. Yeah, and besides, there's already enough DreamWorks spin-off movies as well, so why not do one centered around Metro Man with like him going against other villains? So yeah, I do make a good point. Now keep in mind the Metro Man spin-off movie doesn't take place during the events of the first Megamind 1 movie. So in this idea it would be sort of like a standalone. It would be sort of like, it would be introducing Megamind. It would introduce Metro Man, but it would introduce him, but would not involve like any of the other characters from like the first film, and like you kind of got the idea. So yeah. So anyways, this is what would have happened if the Metro Man Megamind prequel movie, Megamind spin-off movie were in real life. Now we cut open to the beginning where Metro Man, who of course now easily locked away Megamind, who is only mentioned in this film, and Metro Man is all like, yes, Metro City. I of course have been doing lots of good things for us, and which case is kind of very obvious. So this is just how it's going to be for the Metro Man spin-off movie. Yeah, and then suddenly a new threat appears who actually goes by the name Copper the Copper Copper Destroyer. So remember when Metro Man in the first movie said Copper was his weakness, but it was just his fake weakness. The Copper Destroyer is actually the new villain of this movie. So yeah, I mean this is just how it's going to be. So Metro Man now seeing that the Copper Destroyer is now is now the new villain that's trying to destroy all of Metro City. Yeah, Metro Man obviously has to protect Metro City, but in order to do that, he has to find a weapon that will take away he has to find some sort of like relic from somewhere out in space. Well, so this is kind of how it's going to be like. So Metro Man is going to go find it's up to him to go find a relic that will allow him to take a relic outside of Earth and into a different galaxy in which he'll be able to easily put an end to the Copper Destroyer. So Metro Man eventually protects Metro City, and then puts a shield using his powers, and then he creates a shield like power which won't last forever. Which honestly, I guess, is quite the very great beginning intro. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't take place during the Megamind 1 movie. I mean, it just acts as like a standalone. It just acts like a standalone, so that only focuses on one character. And Megamind is only mentioned throughout this movie one time at all. So yeah. Yeah, so Metro Man eventually goes through a planet when suddenly he finds a lot of people that a lot of he finds out that a lot of his people actually survived. So in this version, Metro Man, I can't believe that everyone from Metro Man's planet can't believe that Metro Man is still alive. So, yeah, I guess this is just how it's going to be for that. So Metro Man finds out that some of the people from his planet actually evacuated a long time ago before that they evacuated while they were exiled from the planet while also evacuating from the planet as well. So yeah, that's how some of his people are still alive. Most of them exiled and were still out there in space or in whatever galaxy there was. Which this is just how it was. So yeah, it's kind of how it was. So Metro Man, now feeling shocked that he found now that he found the long lost exiled people of his planet that abandoned Metro Man's planet probably long before he was even born. He of course they of course agree to put an end to they of course he of course tells them that the Copper Destroyer is trying to destroy Metro City, and then of course they agree to this because they of course agree to this, but however they only agree to this so that they can find a way to get powers just as much the same powers just as Metro Man did. So then we get a little bit more of like a montage of like Metro Man training like his exiled people from his planet. Like he's like training them to have the same powers as him, so that way they can way they can put an end to the Copper Destroyer, and then everything is very great and all. So yeah, there would be a montage with that, and there would probably be a song for that, and I guess it kind of does make sense now that I think about it out loud. And then of course we see a spaceship crash down into the same planet where Metro Man was, and it just so happens to be another one of those, hidden superheroes with powers that were banished away from planets, just like how Metro Man was banished away from planets. These superheroes who of course go by the name of the anti copper resistance, or the ACR. The anti-copper resistance, they of course are known as the anti-copper resistance, and then Metro Man and the anti-copper resistance, they eventually, agree to join forces. And this is just how I wanted it to be like if Metro Man had its own standalone movie. I mean, you kind of know what the drill is between you kind of know the drill between uh for these kind of movie ideas, which honestly is the best thing. And now we of course see Metro Man being all like, of course, talking to the anti-copper resistance about how they're going to plan their attack on the Copper Destroyer, which honestly, for the record, is probably going to be one of the best planning out ideas thing that they are doing, which is it's sort of like a new sort of way. So Yeah, and I know it feels a little bit more modern because this one feels a little bit more modern where the other one I did was clearly different, but this one is clearly obvious. So Metro Man being all like, yes, we should go attack them right now. We should go attack the Copper Destroyer and his minions and save Metro and prevent Metro City from being gone. However, that's actually however, they say no, that they shouldn't attack them yet because they need to wait for the right time. So they're just waiting for the right time until it can happen. So yeah, they of course agree to this, and then they eventually like easily wait until then. Then of course a few couple of years later, even though Metro Man still knows that Metro City is still shielded, but it won't hold for long. So a few couple of years, after a few couple of years has passed, Metro Man is all like, we need to put an end to them now. So then Metro Man creates an iconic speech that will eventually let the anti-copper resistance and the people the exiled people of this planet, they all three of them would eventually work together, and so to put an end to the Copper Destroyer. So they eventually head back to Earth, which they eventually head back to Earth, and then everything is still looking okay. Well, I mean, it's still looking okay, but they're still almost trying to be like destroyed and all. So yeah, this is just how it's going to be for this kind of like standalone movie idea or spin-off movie idea. Well, spin-off and standalone movie idea. So that's how it would all be like. So they of course eventually start the fighting battle, and then here we get another iconic battle scene in here. And to be honest, I'm quite surprised because there's a lot more of these, and when I think about it, this one, because the Metro Man Megamind spin-off slash standalone movie actually has a fighting battle scene, which honestly is probably one of the best things. The anti-copper resistance, the exiled people of Metro Man's planet, and of course, and the Metro Man's planet that was destroyed, and Metro Man himself, all trying to fight against the Copper Destroyer. So they eventually win the battle. They eventually win the battle. Well, they win the war and battle and easily succeed on saving Metroville. But then just like when there's one superhero who always has struggles throughout all this, it becomes very hard for him. So Metro Man actually almost dies in this film, but then he's later resurrected. Thanks to the exiled people of his destroyed planet, and then he eventually puts an end to the Copper Destroyer, and then they send him away to the prison to Metro City Prison, and then they send him right to a different reality. So, well, actually no. Well, they were originally going to put him in Metro City Prison, so that's just so there would be like, I don't know how that would all play out if he was sent if the Copper Destroyer was in Metro City Prison, but they just banished him to a different reality. That's how it's all going to play out. So Metro Man now enjoys and celebrates everything. The anti-copper resistance now enjoys and celebrates alongside his exiled people who abandoned his destroyed planet. And then of course everybody, even in Metro City, lives happily ever after. The end. And then we get a post-credit scene where the Copper Destroyer actually, of course, gives birth to a son and says, You will be my general." and you and my minions and me combined will be able to put an end to Metro Man and everyone else in Metro City. Then cut to black, he gives out an evil laugh. And that was my take on the what would have happened if the Metro Man Megamind spin-off / standalone movie were in real life. Now, honestly, I quite enjoyed it. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it for today. Peace out. Bye.